What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another episode of the German Barrel Podcast. And today we got the game recap between the Chicago Bears and the Houston Texans. The Bears did it, guys. The Bears win over the Texans 23-20 in a very close and pretty much bad game, and are now 2-1 on the season. Was it deserved? I mean, I don't know, but at the end of the day, I take the dub. I take the win. Obviously, winning is not the most important thing this season, probably. I mean, to me, honestly, it's not the most important thing. The most important thing for me is the development of the entire team, how everyone progresses throughout the season, and this is what we're going to talk about in this quick little instant reaction / game recap. I mean, as always, check out my film room episode later this week. This one probably will be about solely the Bears offense once again, because they struggle so massively, so many things to learn from. So this one will be pretty interesting, so definitely check that out later next week. And as with that being said, let's start off with this game recap. Start off just simply with the overall performance by the Bears. I mean, offensively, it was pretty poor overall. Run game once again looked really good. We're pounding the rock like crazy. Passing game looked pretty horrible, just like the last couple of weeks now. I mean, against the 49ers it was good, but we had some busted coverages in there, so nothing outstanding against them. And then against the Packers, you go out just completely miserable on offense, and then you go against the Texans, same thing. Passing attack is not looking scary at all, but we will talk about that in depth later. As for the defense, they stepped up, especially in the second half. Loved what I was seeing out of them. And then you have just the overall performance by the coaches. I mean, it was some situations in this game, like end of the first half, where Matt Eberflus has 3 timeouts. We have about 50 or 40 seconds left and already are at the probably own 30, 40. Like, why are you not calling the timeouts and try to put up some points? At that point, the Bears are down 14-13. I mean, why not take a shot with Justin Fields? I don't understand that. And overall, I could say that Justin Fields, as it's looking like right now, the instant reaction is not really having the full trust by this coaching staff. I mean, that's evident to everyone out there probably. So let's move on to the first phase of the football game, which is obviously the offense and the performance of them today real quick. I mean, starting off with our quarterback, Justin Fields went 8 for 17, 106 yards and 2 interceptions. Took 5 sacks, 27.7 rating. And what can I say? Overall, really poor performance by Justin Fields overall. These 2 interceptions were really bad. I mean, on the first one, it looks like we will have to watch that on tape later on. But it looked like he had Roquan St. Brown wide open, throws it into double coverage, is intercepted, and just very bad ball off target, not very accurate. And then you have the second interception once again to Jalen Petrie. He had a pretty damn good game. Really good young safety right there, but throws it into triple coverage. I don't know what he's seeing on the field. Also, very badly placed ball in there as well. So Justin Fields with a very bad performance overall. It's just what it is. I mean, it's probably his worst performance we've seen so far in his young career, and something is just off with him. I don't want to blame everything on him. Like, there were some play calls I didn't like specifically. We will watch that on that film room episode as well. But overall, I think just the chemistry on offense is pretty much off. I think receivers are not the main problem. They are open at times. It's just Justin not finding them, or them not getting open at times. Then you have the offensive line that's not always clicking, even though I thought overall from the first look they made some good protections in certain pass sets, but just Justin having a lot of time but not delivering, or receivers not being open. So, like, the overall entire offense is just not clicking, and it's very annoying to see, because we want a good passing attack in Chicago. We want Justin Fields to be the guy, but so far it's not looking too great. But also at the same time, it's week 3, guys. The Bears are 2-1. Justin Fields had a tough game. Let's first of all see how he bounces back. If he stacks bad games, then we can talk about him being a bust, or not a good player, or not the franchise quarterback. At the moment, it's looking bad. We'll have to accept that he had a bad performance. Let's wait and see how he bounces back. Everybody calm down and take a step back, because I mean, it's an NFL season. It's a long season. Still lots of time for him to prove the Bears that he is the man, but obviously not a good outing by him today. As for the running backs, I mean, the rushing attack was pretty amazing. Once again, by the offensive line. Loved the effort on every single running play. Like, they were pushing hard. There were plays. The plays were blown dead, but at the end of it, the offensive line was still pushing players. I remember the one Khalil Herbert run where they pushed him all for the first down, and later on one, I think, catch to Cole Kmet. They still went down the field and pushed for their guys. So I love the effort by the offensive line. And then obviously Khalil Herbert with the performance of his lifetime. I mean, 20 carries, 157 yards, 7.9 yards average, 2 touchdowns. Unfortunately, David Montgomery got hurt, who had such a great performance against the Packers last week. That's unfortunate to him, so hopefully nothing too serious. But with Khalil Herbert, we have a premium backup that's just so good, reads the gaps, and is so fast through these gaps. He has a really nice burst with him. Justin also 8 for 47 and 5.9 yards per carry. He had a good day rushing the football. And then we also had a very nice run where my man EQ had a 41-yard run. He overall had 2 runs for 43 yards. This was pretty nice. And then Ebner in there as well. As for the receiving, I mean, Cole Kmet had 2 catches today, 40 yards. Darnell Mooney, 2 catches, 23 yards. EQ, 1 catch, 20 yards. They involved some players a bit more. I mean, we had EQ wide open on the first interception, as it looks like right now. I'm not 100% sure if there was something else. I will have to check that on the All-22, but still looked like he would have had some more open opportunities. Also, Cole Kmet was, I think, the target on that interception. If he threw that a bit more to the inside, that would have been a completion probably to Cole. So just players were kind of open, but the connection is just kind of off at the moment. Also, Pringle in there with 1 catch and 11 yards to start the game. He left the game injured. So the Bears took 2 big blows in the offense to start the game, which was obviously not helping the offense and the rhythm at all too. But yeah, this is so far it for the offensive performance. I think rushing the ball overall was the theme today. I mean, they ran it 40 freaking times for 281 yards. This is absolutely insane. But yeah, I think they did a good job in the run game once again. I like the calls in the run game too, but just at times, also, the calls were just too passive. Once again, it looked like the Bears were playing just first half. Again, good drive, start off the game a bit faster and then score. I mean, we're having 10 points in the first quarter. And then second quarter, Bears just slowing down and making life hard on themselves, just pulling back and trying to run the football 3 downs in a row. Like, I don't know what this is. I don't love that. We have to stay aggressive. I mean, this season, nobody's expecting the Bears to win, so what do you have to lose? Just freaking go out there and take some risks. Like I said, I also hated the decision to just go into the second half with 3 timeouts left. Like, use them when you have them. I don't see the problem. But it just looks like they're not trusting Justin Fields. And today it was kind of understandable because he had a really bad game, wasn't not seeing players that were actually open, held on to the ball too long, and then some very inaccurate throws. I mean, we're talking even a ball just into the flats, I think, to Ebner being just thrown wide or overthrown. So this has to get better, but I'm not panicking. I still believe in Justin Fields, and I still think he has lots of talent. We just have to unlock it. And with that being said, that already wraps up the offensive performance. Definitely more to come in next week's film room. As for the defense overall, I think it was definitely a bounce back game. 20 points allowed is pretty much okay. Against the run, they were pretty solid. I mean, they were pretty good, I think, in my opinion. Obviously, Dameon Pierce had a pretty strong outing with 80 yards and 1 touchdown, averaged 4 yards per carry. But overall, we're talking about 24 carries, 92 yards, under 100 yards, which is totally okay. And then 3.8 yards average for them running the ball. That's pretty good, too. And only 1 touchdown allowed. So I like that by the defense. They bounced back kind of after that bad rushing defense against the Packers. And then overall, against the pass, I mean, they had some receivers wide open at times with just some confusion with Kyler Gordon. And before everybody's still, again, hating on Kyler Gordon, I mean, it looks like he is a rookie and he's new to the system. Bears defensive backs were weakened today overall with Dane Cruikshank out and obviously cornerback 1 Jalen Johnson out. His absence was definitely felt today. And I mean, Kyler Gordon just looked like he was looking to Eddie Jackson. I thought he had over-the-top help with him, like wanted to give him the cover, and then the guy went wide open. Obviously looks bad for Kyler Gordon, but I mean, there's just some communication issues. He is in the nickel position, which is the hardest one in Eberflus's system. We don't know how much responsibility he has to take on, so it's probably a tough position to play, and there will be mistakes made, but overall, he bounced back nicely today. I really liked when he played outside. When he played as the outside corner, I think that would be the better position for him overall, because it would be a bit easier for your second round rookie who's just trying to learn everything on the fly, because the NFL season goes by so fast. So I don't understand the approach with him. But Kyler Gordon, for me, overall had a pretty solid game and bounced back after that huge completion. I think it was to Chris Moore. But overall, I think the Bears did pretty well, considering the absence of two pretty important secondary players in Jalen Johnson and Dane Cruikshank. Also, the Bears played pretty well. I like what I saw out of Joe Thomas. He was promoted due to the absence of Matt Adams. As for the defense overall, I really like the effort overall. I think the pass rush was still a bit weak. Would have loved to see a bit more out of my man Robert Quinn. Obviously, he was going against a better left tackle in the league in Laramie Tunsil, but still, like, come on, man. 1 to 2 more pressures. Would have liked to see that, because Davis Mills had damn a lot of time at times back there. The secondary was just covering pretty well out there. And then overall, I mean, Roquan Smith, have to mention him, having the game-winning interception today. Also, the Bears forcing lots of turnovers. Hits principle was in full force. Talk about that in a second, but Roquan Smith, coming back to him, 16 total tackles, 1 pass deflection, 2 TFLs, and obviously that interception. I'm not sure if, that probably counts as a pass deflection right there, but interception, 2 TFLs, 16 total tackles. Looked way better against the run, against a pretty good offensive line. Obviously, there will be times where he gets pushed back, when he's just backpedaling kind of, or going backwards, and a freaking huge ass offensive lineman is running towards him. Like, there's not a lot of things he can do about that. It's about the entire defense in that situation. But overall, I think against the run, he played better today, looked pretty good. And then obviously having that clutch interception to seal the deal, to win that game. Absolutely loved that from him. Showed off his athleticism, read the play perfectly out of Davis Mills' eyes. Absolute crazy performance. 16 tackles is so sick. And I mean, I'm just in love with Roquan again, man. The guy's just such a freaking beast on the field. We need that leader back, and we got him. As for Eddie Jackson, the ball hawk is back too. I mean, great play by Kindle Vildor on that slant to Brandon Cooks, and then Eddie Jackson is there to intercept that batted up pass. And then also overall, he had 8 tackles. Looked pretty good to me today. Jaquan Brisker with some big tackles in there. Roquan also once slammed, I think it was Damian Pierce, to the ground. Big hits out there today too. Nicholas Morrow had a real nice tackle velocity. He looked pretty good. Like I said, Vildor had a solid game. He covered Brandon Cooks for most of the game, which is a tough cover. Like, the guy's amazing. And he did a good job at times. Brandon Cooks just made the better catch, but he was basically most of the time around his receiver, which was a good sign. Like I said, Joe Thomas looked good. And then I also want to mention Justin Jones with the only sack of the day today. He was in there with my man Dominique Robinson, but they were not sharing the sack at the end of the day. They gave it to Justin Jones, who just once again showed off with his fast get up. I mean, he's just getting off of the snap so fast. He times it so perfectly. I said that for weeks now, and he's showing it once again right there on the sack. Gets up fast, and then with a beautiful swim is right off of the block and gets the sack. So he's really impressing me. I like what he's doing. Also, Armin Watts with some nice run stuffs in there too. And I mean, overall, I'm just happy with the performance of the defense. They bounced back after last week. Obviously, a weaker offense. Davis Mills is not the best quarterback in the world, but turnovers, the Bears were punching on the ball heavily. I mean, we're talking about 3 fumbles. 3 fumbles by the Houston Texans. I think one was by Petrie, so that's not really on the Bears defense. He fumbled on an interception. Was that? But yeah, I think Cole Kmet knocked that loose. So good effort by him. But they forced 2 fumbles out of Damian Pierce's hands, and then also had 2 interceptions. So I'm really happy with the defensive performance today. As for the special teams, real quick, I think just great performance by Cairo Santos. Clutch performance. I mean, he was affecting the team by 11 points, 2 extra points made, 3 field goals, 100% rate. Really good performance by him. Trenton Gill with some good punts in there. Clutch one later in the game as well. And then as for the returners, I mean, not too much to work with for them. Like I said, I still would love to see on the kick returns them just pulling the ball and not returning it at all, catching it at all, just letting it bounce out of bounds. But I mean, at the end of the day, it is what it is. But overall, for the team now, I think it was a solid performance. It's a big win, but the offense definitely needs to get better. I'm excited for this game breakdown next week, the film room episode, because there will be lots to talk about. But overall, I think there will also be lots to be frustrated with. So we definitely have to get better this week in order to be prepared against the New York Football Giants, which is a pretty good young team that flies on defense. So we have to be prepared in order to have a chance to win that game. As for my MVPs for the game today, I mean, offensively, it's pretty easy. Khalil Herbert, 20 times he carried the rock for 157 yards and 2 touchdowns. Insane performance, just made some people miss, broke some tackles, and then just bursted through the gaps like a true champ. Broke a huge 52-yard run that gave the Bears great confidence to just push the ball down the field with the running and with the passing game for the rest of the game overall. So loved his performance. As for the defense, this one definitely has to go to Roquan Smith. Eddie Jackson played a damn good game too. I mean, overall, the defensive performance was kind of lit, but overall, Roquan Smith, 16 tackles, 2 TFLs, 1 interception, clutch plays, great run stuffs, big hits. Love the performance by the captain on defense. And then special teams definitely has to go to Cairo Santos for making the game-winning field goal, also hitting a 50-yarder and just overall scoring 11 points for the team, which is pretty amazing. So he's definitely my special teams MVP. And that already wraps up this quick little episode, guys. I mean, it was just my instant reaction to the game. Wanted to get some things that are on my mind out as soon as possible. And yeah, guys, definitely stay tuned for the film room episode later this week. Like and subscribe if you like the video. Check out Instagram and Twitter if you want to as well. And as always, guys, bear down.